Salam, salam, my brothers and sisters. I want to welcome you to the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA. BNN247 is how you can contact us. Please like us, subscribe to us, and let us know that you're out there listening to us. This is from the desk of the Emissary. I am your host, Warren Smith Bay, broadcasting the War Report from a Black perspective. We do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to the music. Today's topic is Black emotional intelligence. And to help me with this discussion today is our Honorable Mr. Claude Foster, founder of CGA Counseling Group, here with us today. How are you feeling today, Mr. Claude?
I'm doing fine, my brother. Glad to be with you today on this day we celebrate our mothers. Uh,
Absolutely.
yes, great day. It's a great day.
And that's such a profound thing, that we have to really, really always think about when we talk about our mothers. I mean, that is something that no one can understand, you know, how an individual feel, because we feel so different as individual sons and daughters. Even the grandkids feel great about that kind of stuff. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to my mother, Miss Helen Smith. She's been gone for a few years now, so I send all my blessings and my love to her up in heaven. And I'm sure that from the many of you out there, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing right now and thinking about how much love we have for our mothers.
I would be
I'm,
remiss if I didn't mention my mother. This is my first year without her, Lula Mae Foster.
uh,
She's in heaven as well,
mhm.
and I'd like to wish her a happy Mother's Day.
So she passed last year,
Mm-hmm.
23.
No, she passed this year.
Oh, 2024. Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right around the corner. That's
yeah.
not long at all. So my condolences and also my love to you and your family for your loss. Okay, let me do my introduction and I'm gonna bring you right back in, Mr. Cloud. Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Our concern today is about Black emotional intelligence. And I wanted to talk about this particular topic, and I'm sure it resonates in many of our lives, because we all have been to that point in our life where sometimes we want to just whoop somebody's ass just because we are angry about something else, and all it takes is a little bit of something for it to get ignited, and it makes a real big situation out of nothing. So I mean, it even goes as far as traffic. I mean, you see road rage occurring today, and you see people on the cell phone, and it kind of piss you off. I mean, people interrupting you, people ignoring you, people stepping on your shoe. There are so many different ways that our emotions overtake our common sense, and it allows us to indulge in the things that really are very difficult to recover from or to get up out of. So emotional intelligence, Black emotional intelligence, that is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of other people around you. There are five key elements to emotional intelligence that I would like us to go into deep discussion about today. And those five elements are self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. I mean, we talked about it earlier this week, and I know it is something that we've all experienced as Black people, and it is something that we can all address as Black people, and we can try to come up with a solution for us and others to make it through life. without having to fight somebody over some really silly stuff or defend ourselves over some really silly stuff. But it happens all too often in this world today. So, with that, I would like us to open up the floor to Mr. Claude, and let's see what his sentiments are on Black emotional intelligence. Go ahead, Mr. Claude.
Well, thank you, brother. I mean, you bring up some heavy topics that make me think outside the box. And this is one of those topics. And my first thing is when you talked about the subject black emotional intelligence. The first thing I thought about, my brother, is who you talking about? I mean, who is black?
Got a question, or you want to? It's
Yeah, it's a
rhetorical.
question. Like I'm being rhetorical. Like who is black?
Hmm.
I mean,
Well,
it's kind of like this. It's kind of like since black is a presence, it's what we look like, right? It's how
yes.
America defines us, right?
Hmm.
So when we talk
I,
about these topics, it's like, is this something that all black people do, or is it something that because we're black, and no matter who does what, it reflects on all of us. It may
right.
not be a problem with all of us.
Hmm.
It may be a problem with a certain segmented group of us, but it
Right.
may not be a black thing. We 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 create this by the sub along with one another
That's
because
correct.
that's what society has embedded in our brain with images, with written words, with authoritative kind of uh, suggestions that we can't get along. And it is
Hmm.
all black. I mean, it's just whenever we talk about black, it's like we talk about, are we talking about all blacks?
Hmm.
Is
Well,
I mean,
let me get
is
back
it,
and
I mean,
clarify.
cause black, the way America has defined black, you know, because like when I was growing up and when you was growing up, most of our black leaders were not black. I mean, in terms of the definition of black.
Hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying to you is when you say black emotional intelligence, are you talking about all blacks
Well, let me answer the question.
as a group?
Hmm. When I say Black emotional intelligence, what this show is about is taking what happens in the real world and relating it to how it affects our culture, our people, our traditions, and our values. I mean, and when we talk about emotional intelligence and anger issues, which is really what this basically means, how to deal with anger, because we seem to have an anger level that's far beyond the norm of any culture. And I don't know the statistics for every culture, but I do know what I've lived in, and I can see how the most trivial things create issues for Black people. I mean, I don't know. In your younger days, I know in my younger days when I'd go out and you'd see a situation, people get mad over the simplest things. People want to fight over the dumbest things, and that is just so asinine to me. I never understood how you would want to fight somebody because they bumped into you. Or I never. Go ahead.
But I guess the reason why I asked you that is, I guess one is the way America classifies us as black people,
Hmm.
and two is like, do we take one negative and apply it to the group? I mean, how do we ever fix the
Hmm.
problem if we
The
say it's
black.
everybody is black? So
Hmm.
all the black people in America got a
Hmm.
problem with
We're
overreacting.
not the only ones now. We're not the only
But
ones.
what I'm saying, when you said black emotional intelligence, I
Right.
mean, it's like it's so broad. Like, is it
Absolutely.
is it
That's right.
so? Are all blacks? Are all of us?
It boils down to this, Claude. We all suffer from PTSD, whether we know it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we confront it or not. We all suffer from post traumatic stress disorder. And because we suffer from post traumatic stress disorder, we are not taking the time to understand the reasoning behind the PTSD. So the purpose of going into the Black emotional intelligence is to give you the breakdown of the elements that create the anger. So in this particular segment, the anger is created based on you being not, and I'm saying the titles of some of the discussion is self-awareness. We're not always self-aware of how valuable we are and how prominent we are and uh, uh, how our bloodlines are. We are not adept to
Well,
self-regulating ourselves. Look at the NFL, for instance. How many times have you seen an NFL player doing something dumb, like this guy driving a Lamborghini down the Dallas freeway and tearing it up because he's running 100 and some miles an hour trying to
but I
race?
wouldn't. But I wouldn't say. Okay, there you've classified it. You said NFL player who
That's just one.
is
That's
that
just
way
one.
because of his wealth, his money, his
No, it's because what
irresponsibility.
he has failed to understand about his self-awareness, about his self-regulation, about what motivates him. This is what we got to discuss. Because if
But
you don't understand why you do certain things like this, why would you be driving 190 miles an hour down the Dallas freeway on a public street? You got to have a reason for getting to that level
I guess what
of
I'm saying is
operation.
I guess what
Make
I'm
it clear
saying
to me.
I guess what I'm saying, brother, is it seems like it seems like we're over categorizing black people.
Mhm. And we are. We are.
I
We're
mean, I mean,
definitely.
but all black people are not that. So
No, I'm not saying
how can we
100%.
hone in on the problem? Let's say okay. Let's just say a black person that didn't finish high school is probably more
Mhm.
likely to exhibit some of these emotional and lack of black emotional intelligence than
Mhm.
black people at large.
Well,
That
if
may
you still have not, you don't understand who you are. You don't understand why you angry. You don't know how to self-regulate your anger. You know, when some people get mad, they think they're stronger than Samson. You don't know why, what motivates you to be angry. You don't have empathy for other people feeling the situations. You don't have social skills. All that comes in your development.
but
And if
brother, what
you are
I'm
not experiencing that development, those basic principles that I just mentioned, then you are going to not think twice about you being angry.
but brother,
That's what we're going to, huh?
what I'm saying is
Mhm. You're gonna have to
what,
say it, put it out, put it on the table, man. Tell me what you
what I'm
think.
saying, brother, is when you say black emotional intelligence,
Hmm.
that that's like to me that's like saying labeling. That's like when you say black emotional intelligence, there's an assumption that all blacks got this problem
Hmm.
because we haven't. We're treating black folks as a monolith and not. I mean, I wouldn't say that. You know, like the thing. White people can't dance.
Hmm.
Some white people can dance
Hmm.
better than black people.
Hmm.
That's a generalized kind of
I see where you're
argument.
going.
Yeah,
Let me
and
clear it up.
so like if we quantified black emotional intelligence, and we
Hmm.
said, and the title was some black
I
people
got
like
the
the
answer
emotion.
right here, man. Look at who's doing this show. You're black. I'm black.
Right.
We're not necessarily victims of this here class that we're doing, but we have experience with these situations. And
Right.
in order for us to tell other people that look like us why we are like this, we basically we've lived it, we've experienced it, and we've stepped out of it because we know what causes it. And now we're trying to spread the wealth to those that may not know what caused this particular action or reaction that they have in situations. That's why we're doing emotional black intelligence. This is not about we're just labeling all black people in a particular category. Everybody ain't black, but I do say everybody got PTSD. I mean, everybody that with this situation ain't creating havoc in the world today.
But
But
isn't that kind of like, like back in the day
mm,
when regardless, like right now, like today,
mm,
there are probably very few blacks with African ancestry in their blood.
mm,
That's today. But the census treats us all, regardless of our ancestry, and it's
mm,
very mixed for us.
mm,
We're still labeled black.
yeah, we're labeled. We accept the label of black. We accept the
Well,
label
do
of
we?
African
No, but
American.
it's but
We're
it's the
doing this
law.
because we don't want to accept what's real.
Yeah,
The
but
reality is we
it's
were
kind of
here
like
already.
but it's kind
That's
of
the
like but
reality.
it's kind of like to be to have mixed blood used to be, like if you're African American, if you're black, because
Mhm,
that's what the census, is what. So regardless of who we are or our ancestry, we're black because
mhm.
the census says we're black,
We're black based on what they call us.
right? And so I guess what I'm saying, I'm not questioning what you're saying about, but it,
Yeah.
it got me to thinking about how we view our blackness and how we
Mhm,
view whatever. Whenever we talk about black, it's kind of like a holistic kind of
mhm,
thing. It's
mhm.
not like, well, and maybe that's why we never get to the source of the problem.
And that's the purpose of this class. This segment, this story, this show
No, it
is
just got
to
me to
try and get.
thinking like, but you make me, when you bring up issues, it makes me
Mhm,
think about being black and about
mhm.
how, and we didn't do this now. I mean, I mean, the cops, when they pull over a car, they just automatically assume a black person's a criminal.
Yeah,
That's why,
automatic
I mean,
because
this
society has
guy,
trained them that way.
this GI in Florida, this
Yeah, he
senior
got
airman
shot
in the
because he
United
had on
States,
anything.
because of what that cop thought all blacks are like.
Yeah, of course. It's
And,
the
and I,
norm. It's the mentality of this country.
but it
This is
got me to
how they have
thinking that,
categorized us, and
but
we have to be smarter than that.
but sometimes I think we categorize ourselves.
You can't tell me that if you walk to the door with a gun in your hand and they tell you that the police is at your door, that you don't expect them to start shooting.
No, what I'm saying is th- that was a white cop.
Yeah, of course it was.
He thinks
You know,
all
but
black.
in
He
Indianola,
saw
Mississippi,
danger.
the same thing
I
happened.
He didn't see danger with the gun. Florida's an open carry. I mean, he was at home.
In
He
Indianola,
saw danger
Mississippi,
because the guy was black.
a black cop shot a 11-year-old black boy, and he didn't kill him, but he shot him. And he shot him because the mother told him that there was nobody else in the house. But and he got off on it. He got away with it. But the fact of the matter is he shot the boy. And it happens far too often. And like the white woman went into the black man's apartment and killed him, and she on the wrong floor, at least she claimed. And then what makes it really stupid to me, I'm just using that word, was this the brother of the man who died wanted to hug the white woman in the courthouse. I just thought that was like the
But
lowest
let
of
me
the low.
let me ask you a question. Let's
Mhm.
take someone that lives
Okay,
in
just keep
in.
in mind we ain't hit the discussion yet, but we're
No,
trying to
no, go
get.
ahead. No, no,
No,
go.
I
No,
want to
we'll get
get.
back to the discussion
We
because
got to be on the same sheet before we move forward. So I want you to tell me what's on your mind. What you
Now,
talking?
oh, what happened?
Huh? I hear you.
No, I've lost you though. I can't see you.
Okay, well, I can see and hear you. Can you hear
You
me?
you can see me?
Yes, I can. I can see and I can hear you. Anyways, while you getting it right, come on
Okay,
back
I
with
got you.
what
I got. No, I know. We'll get back on
I
track.
want your thoughts though. Don't hesitate to come out with tell me what you're thinking. That's more what makes
No,
this a great show.
my thoughts were that as black people in this country, it seems like we tend to oversimplify and overcategorize what it means to be black in this country. It's like there's no like. It's like whatever whatever we are, we're black. I
Hmm.
mean, so whatever's wrong with within the black community is somehow is wrong with all of us.
We've
Uh,
all experienced it, or we all should be aware of it. But
you know, like
how many people that express anger, outward anger, or even if you've been in a public place with somebody and they just started just cursing and started just throwing shit and acting kind of crazy when there's no call for it, but they mad because the waiter walked past their table instead of stopping at yours, and or the waiter took somebody else to a seat and didn't take you to the seat, so you decided to create havoc in the place. How many times have you seen that?
but
But in
brother,
order for you to
brother Bay.
understand that, let me finish my thought. In order for you to understand that, you have to be aware of who you are. And that waiter walking past you doesn't define you. But if you're not self-aware of who you are, then you're gonna go ballistic because you are not gonna accept that particular behavior from anybody.
But is that black emotional intelligence?
That's part of it. We suffer the most from our feelings. Our feelings tend to get us into more trouble than anybody else on this in this country. And if you know it, you know we get treated harshly for every single thing we do, and it's all based on our emotions. And if we could control our emotions, which is what we want to discuss, what creates the emotion and what is why you have the emotion and why what would stop you from having the emotion, the emotional breakdown, so I'm gonna call it that. You have to be aware of who you are. You have to know how to self-regulate yourself in time. In other words, if your boss tell you to get these papers down the hallway, what you gonna say? Yeah, sir, Mr. Billy, I got it, I'm running, sir. 3 bags full. What you gonna do? Run it on down the hall? But you gonna say, sir, don't you I'll get it, I'll take it down there, but don't ever tell me to get, because I grew up hearing white folks tell me to get every day. I don't want to hear that in the workforce. But sometimes people get fired from very beautiful jobs because they cannot handle a white person telling them a particular thing in a certain way. Boy, come here, boy. Let me tell you something. So if somebody call you boy and you're the director of HR in your department, but the regional director calls you a boy, what are you gonna do? I'm asking you, Claude. What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm going to react to that as
How?
a
How? Through your emotions, right?
well, depending on the skills that I have as a
We,
person.
so
Not, I mean, wait. So whether if I'm
you never been
black,
called boy, or you never been told to get somewhere or sit down, boy, shut
no, but
up.
I guess I guess what I'm saying, brother, is I'm I'm gonna react based on whatever training I have. I mean, whatever tools I have in my toolbox to deal with that.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, if you don't know your self awareness, your self regulation, your motivation, you don't have no tools.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. But that's not black emotional intelligence.
Who Everybody black don't have this. Everybody white don't either. But our concern ain't about them.
Yeah,
Our
but everybody.
concern is educating our people.
I hear what
They,
you're saying, and I'm being discussion. I'm just trying to.
I mean, you
I'm
need
I'm
to
I'm,
be that way. I love it.
I'm coming. What I'm saying is, it
You
seems
need to
like
get real. You get raw. Don't hesitate to say what's
no.
on
It's
your mind.
sometimes like we
You tell me if you
perpetuate.
think it's bullshit, say it's bullshit the way
No,
it's
I think
written.
sometimes we perpetuate negative stereotypes
Hmm.
about us as a people. I think
But what would you call it when black people have more incidents of being called violent,
I don't
or
know.
the angry black man, or
I
the
had
angry black woman? You don't hear the angry white woman going around, do you?
no
Or the angry white man going around, do you? You ever hear
because
that?
we don't associate. We don't. It's because, like I say, it comes back to who, to it comes back to we don't do we don't do this to any other group.
Well, do what? Do what? Do what? You got to tell me.
We
I
we
mean,
don't we don't say there are 41 million black people in America.
hmm
There are about 41 million.
right.
So 41 million black people are subjected emotional so 41 million black people. This impacts all 41 million.
hmm It does,
Okay.
because all 41 million are not going to be aware of their what emotional black intelligence is. They're not going to know self-awareness. They're not going to know how to self-regulate. They're not going to know what motivation is, empathy, or they're not going to have the level of social skills necessary to control that particular behavior. That's where we're going with this. We have certain, everybody, all those 41 million got different levels of understanding of what this is. And if you ask 10 people from one category with a PhD, they're going to have a certain level of education and understanding of these requirements. You say, well, you ask somebody with a PhD, what is self regulation? They're probably going to say emotional self regulation refers to the ability to manage disruptive emotions and impulses. In other words, to think before I act. They got probably going to say something like that. But if you ask somebody, let's say with a high school education, what is self regulation? It means I'm gonna sit in the car while my girl go pump the gas.
So is
I'm
it
just saying
so
the
is
different
the
levels of understanding.
so emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
So it's not. See, now you're saying exactly what I'm saying.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the one aspect of being a black person in this country,
Hmm.
it's like an Asian, right? An
Hmm.
Asian marry a white person, right?
Hmm.
That white person, they have a child. That person's categorized as white.
Hmm. Yes, that's
A
right.
black person marries a white person, and they have a baby. That baby is categorized as black.
Why is that?
And so everything about blackness is
It's
automatically
negative.
assigned to that baby
Hmm.
because his skin is black.
Why?
And so what you're saying is this issue is assigned to all black people because we're black.
Yes.
And I think that we need to start dispelling that notion.
Well, that's the exact purpose of this class or this show, is to dispel it. Because if we have people that may be homeless on up the stratification system that don't understand, I mean, how many times have you thought of this in your adult days? You probably, I mean, me either, until I came across the experience. We learn so many things as we mature in life that we never ever revisit again. But some people don't have the same opportunity to get past that class of learning how to control your
And,
emotional
and,
intelligence.
and I guess one of the things about this show that I find so intriguing when we bring up topic, because we have an opportunity. See, blackness in America means something totally different than it's different than anywhere else in the world.
Because it's nothing. It's not real.
It's whether it's the census, whether it's the police, whether it's the government, whether it's whatever, whether it's a neighborhood where we don't want, regardless of status, we don't want blacks in the neighborhood
Hmm.
because this is how
Not
black
only in
people are.
America, it's all
No,
over.
but America's form is unique than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
The way black people are viewed, the way black people are counted, the way black people are judged, uh, this whole system of this one drop rule, that America is the only place in the world that ever had that kind of system.
And who
And
who?
it seems like when we talk about us, we tend to talk about it in the one drop rule sense that
Hmm.
all black people are the same, just like the. So we're
No.
never
Mm-mm.
judged as individuals. We're
Well,
never judged as
that's the
uh,
norm. That's the belief that many black people have. But
but what I'm
it's
saying
not
is
true.
the way we talk about things
We have to.
it
If you don't talk
validates
about it, if
that.
we don't talk about this,
Huh?
who do you think will talk about black emotional intelligence if we don't talk about it?
I hear what you're saying. I got you.
It,
That's no
it?
argument.
They don't allow you to even talk about our history in school anymore.
I
They
got you.
they don't allow it. You go to jail, you lose your job if you mention slavery. You know
I got
who else gonna
I,
talk about
I got. It's not the fact that we. It ain't the fact that we talk about it. It's how we talk about it.
it? Hmm.
It's never
And
about the fact that we talk about it. It's how we talk about it. And
what's the last construction or what's the last box or kit you put together? What's the last time? What's the last project? I mean, your personal project, not for community or anything. What's the last personal project you did? Like you cleaned the garage or you
oh yeah,
uh,
I clean. Yeah,
uh
I cleaned out the garage. I put
okay,
a
okay.
bookshelf together, for my
All right.
daughter.
So in order to put that bookshelf together, if you look in that kit, right, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
give you a required tool list, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to, but you can always open the box and go to work without even looking at that list of tools. This is the
Right.
same thing. This
Okay,
is
but
a
let me ask
tool.
you. But let me let's say we had some white people watching the show,
Mm,
and the white person said, "Come here, Mary. See, I told you, black people they don't know how to deal with their anger. So when you
mm,
see a black person, be careful."
mm. That it's too late for that part. It's already out there. You
But we don't
cannot
need to
tell me that is not the norm of white America when they look
that.
at a black person. Why do you think they clench their purses when black people walk by? Why do you think they get on the other side of the street if you're walking on the sidewalk? Why do you think we have these issues we have right now? Is because they already have this predetermined destination of black
Okay,
people
but
in
okay,
their it's embedded in them. If
it's
this little
but
white
it's
girl,
saying.
I saw a skit. This little white girl, she ate the cookies in the house, right? So her
Mm,
mother was asking her, "Who ate these cookies?" I don't know. It was a black man. She don't know the shit about no black people, but she said it was a black man. Where did she get that from? You put yourself on mute. But my point is, you put yourself on mute, Clark. There you go.
okay.
Go ahead.
No,
But
and I don't mean to be argumentative,
I would. But if you not, then we ain't got no discussion. You need to be
but
yourself.
yeah, but I just think that if if
Uplift.
we don't if we don't sort that out, ain't nobody else gonna do it. And if
Let
we
me,
continue to
let
do
me
it,
tell you why. When we
it's
go back
like
to the toolkit, when we go back to the toolkit, if we don't consult the dictionary or the rule book on how to put this thing together, then we subject to come out with anything. This is a tool list. This is to teach you how to go back and understand what constitutes your emotional intelligence, which is anger. That's all that I'm getting at. That
I get
anger.
you. I get you.
If you don't
And I
understand
may be
emotional intelligence, you don't understand anger. You
and
have
I,
to know what causes.
and I may be off base. I'm looking at them in a much broader than what
It
you
doesn't get
envision the
much
show.
broader than this.
Yeah, but the
I
show
mean,
is about. You said emotional anger. I'm just saying that I'm looking at it from the title is Black Emotional Intelligence. So I'm
mhm.
looking at it from a much broader
what
context.
what what happens before you get
I'll
angry?
give you a good example. I'll give you a good example.
Because
Uh,
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
okay, I'll
I
give you.
mean, where you going with it?
Okay, where I was going with it is it's like okay, it's like uh, it's like racism, right?
Hmm.
It's like any of the any it's like as it's like being black, right? Like
Hmm.
black emotional intelligence. It
Hmm.
you know basically it's you're saying that all 41 million black people are subjected to
Absolutely.
self-awareness, self-motivation, empathy, and having the social skills. That's what
I'm
you.
saying that's the ingredients to controlling your anger. That's what I'm saying. You need ingredients to deal with certain situations. You cannot deal with certain situations if you don't put the ingredients in there first. Like if you go to another country, especially if you're in the military, you're
Okay,
going to go
here's the
a
thing then.
class first to learn some basic language skills about that culture or some basic traditions about that culture before you get put out there in that culture.
Okay, let me
And
ask
this is
you.
the same thing.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and maybe I'm off base. Yeah, like I
Well,
said,
no, just your thoughts, your thoughts. And
I
maybe if we go through this and then we come back and start discussing it like
if we had a show called Emotional
potato.
Intelligence, we're
But
going to
right
talk
now
about
you
self.
don't,
If we had a
huh?
show about emotional intelligence, we're going to talk about self awareness, self motivation, empathy, and the social
Mhm.
skills that go along with emotional intelligence. Right?
So look at it this way: if you don't have self awareness of who you are and what surrounds you, what the circumstances you can be exposed to, how are you going to understand how to deploy your intelligence and your emotions in a situation when you don't know what you're dealing with?
Okay, I'll
You
buy
have
that.
to know what you're dealing with first. So basically, let's go on to the first. So let's go through it. Then we're gonna come right back to where we at right now because I really want us to be on the same sheet at the end of this. So the first thing I talked about is self awareness, having an understanding of your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own values, your own beliefs. I mean, if you don't know your own thoughts and your own feelings, you don't know that this is how you get if something occurs to you. You don't know if your values are that your family has always been a violent family and love to fight, and everybody know you as a fighting family. If you don't know that you believe that God is the supreme being or that you're a good fighter, you believe your belief is that your family can whoop everybody's ass in the city. You know, if you don't know that your actions will get you more time in prison than anybody else actions, if they commit the same crime, if you don't know these things, then you're subject to do something that could cost you the rest of your life. You take you 5 minutes to get in it and a lifetime to get out of it.
But let
It
me ask
means
you a question.
you understand who you are.
Oh,
Means that you understand what you want, how you feel, and why you do the things that you do. You
okay,
have to know these things.
so we would have if that if I know it's a black show, right?
Mm. If we
So
had a white yes.
if we replace black with white emotional intelligence, would
Hmm.
would would it be the same? Would the
For,
tools be the
for
same
yes, it would be different, but it wouldn't mean the same. It wouldn't have the same results
because of
as
our history?
with black people. See, they can get away with not knowing these things and still get away with not suffering the consequences. But we cannot. If we don't know who we are, if we don't know what we believe in our values and our family traditions, then we subject to screw our entire family life. I mean, for the next 100 years, if
Right.
we don't know these things, we have to know. how we operate. So, for instance, if Michelle, who are their daughters, Aaliyah and the other daughter that they have, if
Mm-hmm.
those two girls decided to run with Chelsea Clinton, right, and they all went to the club and they were all in there funky drunk.
Hey, let Chuck in,
Oh, he's
Brother Bay.
here.
Uh huh.
Okay, all right, gotcha. I mean, they're all here, and if they don't, if those three girls, Malia, Chelsea Clinton, and some other presidential, one of the Bush girls, got together and went down on in Austin and got drunk, they're gonna take the black girl to jail. Just like my
But see, if it was Maya, if it was the Obama girls
mhm,
and the Clinton's girl and the Bush's girl,
mhm.
I don't think that they would distinguish between them.
Uh, see, that's that blindness that some of
No,
us have.
I really
I'm
don't.
calling it what I think it is. I believe no matter what the case is, if it becomes the black and white, black gonna suffer first. They will throw your ass under
But
the bus quicker
but
than
in
anybody.
that
What they did to Colin Powell.
but the situation you just described, I don't think that they would take either one of the girls to
What
jail.
why did Colin Powell take the fall for the George Bush screw up? Because he was black. You know, you don't. I don't think necessarily that they planned it that way,
No,
but they
no,
said if anybody had to fall, let's let him fall.
no. Got a PhD, had a PhD, right?
Mhm.
Them white folks call her Condi.
Look at the black woman that
You got
committed
Jill Biden.
suicide on Russell University.
You
A
got
black
Jill
woman
Biden.
with a PhD just killed herself because they would
No, but
not
what
give
I'm
her
saying is,
equal. Huh?
what I'm saying, I'm talking about respect. Jill
Me
Biden
too.
just barely got a PhD from a school that her husband was on the board of
The Secretary of
Biden,
Education.
and yet they call her doctor. You know, she wants to be called Dr. Jill Biden, but here you had a black woman in the Reagan administration, Bush administration,
Look,
with a PhD. They called her Condi. So I
yeah.
understand that there's a difference. So do you tell Condoleezza Rice? Uh,
If
I mean,
necessary, if she don't have an understanding of her self awareness and she allowed them to call her Condi, then she fucked up because she has to be aware of self in order. She probably is aware, but she probably didn't give a damn because she was getting paid enough money. But this black woman that was the head of what was it, Harvard University?
mm-hmm.
Why did she have to resign within a month after she said some anti-Semitic stuff? But these other white directors of these universities are still in power when they're locking up students.
Now, brother, you
You
need to
know,
answer
so
this.
it's a double standard. I don't care what nobody say. It is a double standard. So black people have to be better equipped to deal with those double standard things that are put in their faces. We have to be self-aware. If we go somewhere and think we can get away the same shit white folks get away with, then we delusional. And that's just the way it is. I don't believe no black person can walk in and get away with the same shit. It ain't going to happen in this day and time. Definitely not in America. I don't think you can make me believe that with the atrocities black people have suffered here, and everybody want to act like we got the problem because we were slaves and we should get over this shit by now. You know, critical race theory said don't talk about that shit no more. Don't make our kids feel like they did something to us, but even though they are living off the damn remnants of the monies that they made off the backs of blacks. You know, you cannot tell me it's an equal playing field. It is not. Black people were recently just allowed in the baseball with Jackie Robinson, you know,
Mm-hmm.
one token black man being
On the
allowed in
first.
the sport when and now they can't get rid of him. But now, you know, I'm just saying it is so many disparities between black and white. And if we are not aware of these issues, we are not going to be able to maneuver the system in a manner that will benefit us. Because so many times we are on our way up and something stupid will bring us down because we're not aware of how we got there and how we need to stay there. We have to be aware. And Condi must knew how she needed to stay where she was. she was self-aware. She knew who she was. But if
But
you
do you
don't
think?
self-regulate,
Do you think she
how
had
many
the
times
black
you
and
want to cut
do you think
somebody
she
out?
had the black emotional intelligence to make that decision?
They don't call it what I call it.
But do
I
you
call
think
it,
she had the black emotional intelligence,
yeah,
her and Colin Powell,
yeah. They
to
both
make
had
the
to have
decision that
it.
they made?
For them to get as far as they made it, they had to have it. They had to.
Okay.
How can you not be able to self-regulate? If you want to act a fool with the police, they'll beat the shit out of you. But the white person ain't gonna get the same treatment. They're not gonna. You 9 times out of 10, you may get killed. 9 times out of 10, they may get taken to jail.
So is
That's
it? So is it? So is it? So the person that gets irate on the highway, is it because they
you're
and they do
talking
certain
about
things?
road rage
Yeah.
or with the police.
Is it black emotional intelligence, or is it just lack of emotional intelligence, regardless of whether they're black or anything else?
You talking with road rage
Well,
or with the police?
any situation.
All right, let's say a person driving down the highway and you see a car cut you off and you start cussing in the car and now you grab the steering wheel and you're gonna run their ass in the ditch. You
But
run them in the ditch
does
and
that
now the
have
police
anything to do?
get behind you. See, give me time to answer. Now the police is behind you, and so now you're gonna outrun the police, but they're gonna deploy every damn police in the city to get your ass off the road and pull out a gun if you dare. Reach for your gun if you dare. Don't put your hands on the steering wheel if you dare. You're going to die. But if
But
you're a white person, you can step out the car with a machete in your hand, and 9 times out of 10, they not going to shoot your ass. You get shot just for being black in the back, for walking away, for having your hands up, you still get shot. You get beat for running down the damn street just because you black. But if you're not you don't realize that these things can happen to you, then you're just gonna be another victim.
right.
Just like George Floyd. Why would you not think that you were gonna get in a situation like that? I love the man and I pray for him and his family. And that what happened to him was wrong. But dealing with these cops. And the worst part about all that, you got 45 people standing around looking at him die. You probably got more than that. But I'm just saying, if we're not self-aware of what they will do and get away with it to a black person, then we're delusional. We need to wake the fuck up. And that's why I said what I said about black emotional intelligence, because if we don't have that, we're not aware of self. We're not trying to self regulate ourselves so we don't get caught up in no bullshit. If we're not motivated to keep ourselves out of bullshit, if we're not empathetic of other black people who suffer, I don't give a damn if they're in California, in New York, in Minnesota, it don't matter where they are. We got to have empathy, able to understand and share the emotions of others. Empathy is a key component to social skills, which are an important aspect to our emotional intelligence. Now, the last one is social skills. I'm just going through them all so we can get
Right.
this on the table and then we go back to our discussion. Social skills, being able to interact well with others, active listening, verbal and nonverbal communication, allowing you to build meaningful relationship with others. We have to have social skills whether we building relationships or not. How many times you heard white folks tell a joke and you laughed anyway, and then come to find out the joke was about you? How many times you seen that happen? They call you a nigger and everybody in the office laugh and you laugh with them. Not, I ain't saying you, I'm saying
No,
black people.
but I've seen that. I've seen black people laugh at black jokes.
But see, you should be able to address that. But you can address that unless you have self-regulation and unless you have self-awareness. You have to have those skills. If you don't
How
have
about if
that,
it don't get addressed because it's your self interest? If you're working and a white person tells a joke and you laugh along with the white person, you're doing that out of self interest, not
you,
whether or not you're black or white or
uh,
anything.
so
That's
you're doing it to keep your job.
You're doing it to keep your job. I mean, that's why some people do it.
Okay. To
It has nothing
me,
to do with being black.
see, It has everything to do with being black. If you're sitting there allowing them to call you a nigga and you laughing with them, where does that put you? I don't. I mean, what job is more important than you being?
No, I've reported it. I've been in situations when I work at the council and
Mhm,
been in meetings where a racist joke was told,
mhm.
not so much the N word, but let's just say you got
Did
a
you stop that
contractor.
joke?
No, yeah, let's just say you got a contractor, and the contractor they need a building for a construction, so where they have their construction briefings. So in their black neighborhood, and
Mhm.
they make the comment, well, we brought in a trailer, but if I had known the houses were so that cheap, we could have bought a couple of houses for the meetings instead of going out buying a trailer.
Mhm.
That was a,
Have,
that that
have
was
you
disrespectful.
ever turned the other cheek when somebody said something? That's all I'm
No,
asking.
I never have.
You addressed it, right?
Yeah, I addressed it because I had the background,
But you addressed it
but I had
with
the background.
intelligence, right?
But I had the background to address it.
You
A lot of
addressed it
people
with
don't have.
intelligence.
Well, I don't know whether that's intelligence. Uh,
You because you could have went off, but that wouldn't have been intelligent. You addressed it with self awareness. You know better, so you did better.
no, I
You self
addressed it at the
regulated
meeting, but I
yourself. You
also
didn't go
reported
off,
it.
but you did address it because you know how to deal with things because you have feelings, you have thoughts, and you have values.
And
You
you have
know how to
education.
apply those things in order to flip the conversation back to where it's supposed to be
Well,
and to allow people to know that that's unacceptable. But
but
some
that's
people don't know how to do it that way, Clark. If you take somebody in there without those skills that's the emotional intelligence that you have, and put them in that same room, and that joke was told, and then well, motherfucker, what did you just say? I'll kick your goddamn ass. How many times have you seen us overreact to something that could have been handled just like you handled? That is the purpose of this verbiage we're talking
but
about,
is
right?
but is that because the blackness, or is that because of lack of skills to address it?
That's, I mean, black and skilled ain't opposite of each other. They go together. It's synonymous. They go together. So why couldn't you have those skills and address it with your skills? You can have the skills and still address it like you don't.
But it's the lack of skills because the person's black.
It ain't always the lack. See, you keep going back. It's the lack of skill because the person's black. We're not talking about anybody other than black. We're talking about how black people have to survive in America, in a racist country. That's what we're talking about. So you're trying to bring in, well, why? How would a white person react to this particular situation? I don't give a fuck how they would react because I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about black people. That's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about how we have to understand how to react. For instance, you have these skill sets, so you knew how to turn the conversation back in the right direction. Somebody in there sitting in that same meeting may not have those same skill sets, and they be wanting to whoop the manager's ass and get fired that same day.
I
I
guess
mean,
what and you make me think on some of these
mm,
shows, and all
mm,
I'm saying is I don't mean to be argumentative, but
you should
when
be.
we're talking about blackness,
Mm.
sometimes I think that we put ourselves in this black box.
So you think we put ourselves here?
I
You don't
mean,
think we got here by somebody else creating this whole environment for black people?
I mean, it started that way, but it
So
seems like
now
we
we're no
perpetuate it.
longer in this position.
Okay, it's like this. Okay, it's like this. We talk about all the. We, I guess what I'm saying, it seems like
Jump in my
blackness.
truck too. You welcome. Go
Yeah,
ahead. I'm
but it
listening.
seems like blackness have become being black and addressing, and
Our issues.
not so much addressing our issues, but it seems like there's, well, I don't know. I'll let Chuck
Chuck, you want to get in?
opine.
Well, there's been one question that's been on my mind since I've been listening to you all talk. There's been some pretty good points made, and I agree with some of the stuff that Smitty is saying, and I agree with some of the stuff that Clark's saying. But uh, there's something else that may be contributing to mm, the lack of emotional control or emotional intelligence and stuff like this. There's something else contributing to it. And there's a scientific study going on right now, and they just brought it to the thread last night. I don't know if any of you guys
I
read
saw it.
that. Yeah, let's talk about the mental health part. That these people are not mentally stable enough to 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 deal with uh, the disrespect that comes towards them, and then when they do try to stand up for them, they get shot down because there's nothing there for them to fall back on. Now, you take a cloud with saying, yeah, Condoleezza Rice, she might not give a damn what they call her Dr. Rice because she's going to get the same, she got that money coming. So it ain't an issue that she'll go out there and make an issue out and put that money in that job in jeopardy, knowing that she's a minority and they can vote her ass out at any time. Same with the NBA basketball players and football players and things of this nature. They
Look at
got
Kyrie Irving.
dollar contracts. They ain't gonna come out here and challenge it, you know. And so a little person. I was sitting in a redneck bar, and the old boy tried to make a joke, and I don't play that stuff. I'll challenge him in a heartbeat. He said, "How many?" He said it in a way. How many brothers do you think it'll take to cover a roof? I looked at him. And I'm like, I don't know how many. He said one if you slice them real thin. And I just read in his ass, what the fuck wrong with you? I don't how I went out. It was years ago. I was a young
Mhm.
buck then, ready to throw down.
Mhm.
But
And do you think you knew you do you feel like he knew he was being disrespectful when he said
hell
that?
yeah, he knew. They
Yeah,
knew what they done. White folks know what they're doing. They do it to agitate you, to make you get a negative response out of you, so they can say, "Oh, well,
So
he's
you're
the
right.
one that did it." It's
Call the
always the
police
one
on
that
you.
retaliates
Get
to
you
get
arrested.
penalty.
Hmm.
So yeah, they know what they're doing. They go up there right and push you right to the point of where they disrespecting you, snapping. Well, you hit me first.
Hmm. And that's the purpose of this class today.
And
This emotional intelligence.
another thing they do, you can't disrespect my manhood. I don't give a damn who he is. You're not going to disrespect my manhood without having a word from me or something come back at you. I'm just not going to lay down and let that shit happen.
You, And one of my responses is if somebody, and it all because of emotional intelligence that I feel like I've gained. If somebody say something to me like that, I'm going to look at them and first thing I'm going to say, obviously, Mr. Billy, you have a good reason for saying what you just said. Now, do you mind if I ask what your reason is?
Well, there
Now,
wouldn't be no
when I
good reason for
ask
saying
what
that.
the reason is, now basically, let me tell you the purpose behind that. When I ask him, do you mind if I ask you what is your reason? He's too stupid to realize he can say, I do mind. But he's going to try to out articulate me and he's going to say something even dumber and he's going to make himself look even worse than he made himself look by saying that racist act or that racist comment. So it's all about emotional intelligence.
You know what I do with a person like that? I attack their intelligence.
That's how you do it. I
I
got
say,
just
hey,
what I just
hey,
said.
look, I tell them right there, I know your parents raised a better man than this.
Hmm.
A little bitty person right now talking that kind of stuff. I'll
Hmm.
attack his intelligence, make him feel real small if I
All right.
can.
Do you know why he said, "So are you? So what am I"?
So let me ask you a question, Chuck. He said that to you? He told that
Who?
joke to you, or you just overheard it at the bar?
Well, it was at a bar and he was telling it, and there was several blacks in there. As a matter of fact, the bar owner kicked him out. He said, "No, you're not gonna." And he's a redneck too, but he said, "You're not gonna play that shit in my bar. I have just as many black customers in here as you." So it was about economics for him. He ain't gonna play that in my bar.
Who was he
So get
talking
Mhm.
out.
to?
He put him out.
No, but
But
who
he's
was
just
he
as
talking to?
red as he is. He probably told him
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end of the day, that was a good joke.
Behind the, when he go into the closet, when he come out the closet, you got to act a certain way.
But
Mhm.
who did he ask the question about the roof? He had to ask somebody the question.
No, he was just making it's just a
It was
generalized joke.
just a bar joke, right?
Sitting around, just a bar joke.
But when he phrased the question, how many blacks does it take to cover a roof? He had to ask who was he talking to?
Well, I don't know if specifically. He might have been just talking to the group that was sitting around the bar, and I
And it was
happened
Same
to
a
be there.
way, if
and that
somebody
was a
say,
group of
"How do you stop five black people from fighting?"
and that was a group of black guys, right?
Just throw them a
Well,
basket.
yeah, at least two or three of us sitting there.
But
You know.
Mhm.
I'm
It is
saying
so many racial jokes out here that we can't cover all of them.
yeah.
But what we can cover is how we react to it. And it starts with us having that understanding of our own thoughts, feelings, values, beliefs, and
So we
our
take a. Is it a racial joke if we say how many Aggies do it take to turn a light bulb?
probably is. I don't know. It
Hmm.
probably would be to a white person, but I don't know. What is the answer?
Oh, I don't forget. I think it's two.
You don't have an answer.
I think it's two or something like that. But I don't
Okay.
forget. But that was one of the
All right.
jokes.
So
A
So
blonde
did
joke.
you
A blonde
self-regulate
joke.
yourself when you were talking when he's made that comment? Were you self-regulated when you made your response?
No,
Did you?
I was.
Oh,
I
you
was.
really wanted to
I
slap the
was.
shit
It
out of
wasn't
him, right?
emotion. It was just being it wasn't an emotional thing. Yes, it was
Mm.
emotional because you pissed me off.
Let me ask you a
Was it
question.
emotional self-regulation?
After the riots
You
and
managed the disruptive emotion and impulse that knocked the shit out of you. You managed that,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
So you
I didn't want to
self-regulated.
get to that
So
level.
that's basically saying you already are privy to these steps, these different things. You
Yeah,
self-regulated yourself
I
to
had to
keep from
respond to
being,
him. Now, if you want to take it a step higher, we can take it a step higher.
but
That's on
but you
him though.
but
He
in
had to
order, but you could
self-regulate
have,
too, didn't he?
you see the police got this thing called the ascending scale of force, right? And it all talks about when a police pull up on the scene, it should be enough to stop any fights going on.
when they
That's
pull up.
level one. Level two is that when the police gives you an order and tells you to stop doing this particular thing. Level three is when the police approaches you with a baton or a shield or cuffs or anything. Level four and five and six is deadly force. So you got force, reasonable and unnecessary force, and then you got deadly force. So if you get to number five and six, they always go to five and six on any situation with black. But when it comes to white folks, I've seen white men with knives, with machetes, with baseball bats, and the police officers running from them to keep from killing them. But for when it comes to us getting into trouble, they will automatically go to level six and bust a cap on us without second thoughts. That's
Exactly
how they do.
like that brother, like he did that brother. He was in his home. He
Mhm.
had the right to have that gun. He had it in a defenseless position. He was pointing down. This officer never said drop the gun, and he just opened fire. And a matter of fact,
Mhm.
he
You
had to
can't
have
do that.
his gun already drawn and cocked and ready for action. He went
But
there.
you're not self-aware. You're not having an understanding that police will shoot your ass just by the presence of a gun. They will
Well,
shoot you for
I don't want to put a blanket over all cops, over all police
no,
officers, just
but
like I don't want to over
99.9%
all
of
white folks.
it ain't the
Now,
cops, it's
some
the blue
bad white,
uniform.
oh, there's some bad white cops out there
Mhm.
that are working
Black
through this
ones
here,
too.
huh?
Black ones too.
But how many
Because the
black
black
police,
cop shot this 11-year-old boy in Mississippi last year.
white boy, black boy?
Black man
So you got some blacks
shot
out
the
there
black
doing the
boy.
white boy work. Yeah, you got some out there, but um,
The ones in Memphis that beat this other dude up because he was dating one of the cops' girlfriends.
one of his
You know,
buddies.
there's bad black cops too.
Yeah, that was
It's the
black cops that
uniform.
did
It
that.
ain't the
Yeah.
cop.
But you don't got them going around murdering people and unarmed people in the streets like white boys have been doing until the Black
The
Lives
black people.
Matter movement came out there and said
Mhm.
y'all got to
But
stop
see,
this
if
bullshit.
you are aware that this is what police do, why would you put yourself in a situation? like that. If I know I go to the door and I see that it's the police, why would I open the door with a gun in my hand? What am I asking them to do?
I didn't. Who said he looked to the door? He opened. He said, "Police, open the door."
Well,
I
he
don't
should
know if
know
he
better.
opened it or not.
I'm not
No, he
blaming
looked.
the
He
kid for
looked
getting
outside.
killed
He
at
didn't see
all. Don't
any.
get me wrong. The cop was
Yeah,
wrong. 100%. The cop was wrong.
yeah.
But if you are self-aware, you have to have an understanding of what occurs when a black man opens a door with a gun in his hand. Would you do that at your house? Would you do it, Floyd?
No,
Claude?
because I'm aware of that
Yeah,
history. But we teach when you look at public education. The public education is treating the kids as if they're all the same.
that's some bullshit because it's
There's
never
no
never gonna happen,
there's
and it
not a
ain't
set of
happening in our lifetime.
right, and
That's the
society.
perception. That's the bullshit they try to make you believe. And then when you believe that, then you just as wrong as they are.
Then you
Because
make the
they're
mistake
never
like
going
that.
to
You
be
make
like
the
they
mistake
like
like
them.
that young airman just made.
Why so many black kids come out of high school with no educations and so many white kids do?
Why did the police officer go to his house in the first
They
place
was
with his
called.
gun drawn?
There was a
I
call
never
of
had a cop
domestic
come to my house
domestic
with his
disturbance.
gun drawn.
Well, that was a call about a domestic disturbance, and those can be some of the most violent situations because
A
people
lot of,
are
lot of cops get killed.
yeah in
Even when
domestic
you get pulled
occurrences.
over, a cop is going to, they tell you how to act when you get pulled over. Why
Right.
are you being made self-aware as a teenage boy how to act when encountering the police? Why are they telling us, our kids, how to act or to be self-aware of what the police do? They do this for a reason. And so many of us don't know that they need to be self-aware. Everybody ain't getting that education. Everybody don't know that they need to have an understanding of how the police operate with black kids. They don't
But
know it.
why
That's
do
why
we have
so many
to?
of us,
Why do black people have to act any different from any other
because this
person?
is the U.S.A. And until
So
people realize that, we ain't
we're
gonna have
not
get
okay.
nowhere. We got to understand that this country have used the hell out of us and from our ancestors to us, and still using us. They're still using us. They're like you say all the time. There's going to be two classes: a permanent underclass and a rich class.
Right?
That's all it's going to be.
That's what Trump is all about.
And
That's that's the
if we're
move.
not self-aware of this, if we don't start self-regulating ourselves, we're going to continue to keep going from what they call it, that pipeline. We're going to stay in that damn pipeline because we're not
Well, yeah, because
self-regulating.
those people that's in that pipeline, they don't have the tools or ability to
Let me ask
Where
y'all.
do I?
Let me ask
themselves.
y'all a question. Do you think that if he was in uniform, the cop would have shot?
If the
If
boy was in uniform,
if he was in full uniform, you think he
he'd have
would have
still
shot?
shot. He'd have still shot him. I think he wouldn't have got away at all. He'd have got shot just because he was black for number one and had a gun for
Because he
number
wasn't
two.
looking. He wasn't looking at the man. He was looking at the gun, right, Klaus? He was looking at
He,
the gun. He wasn't looking at the
Well,
man,
you have
huh?
to see the
he's
man
looking at the
too.
color of the man with the gun.
Yeah, he didn't just see a
Yeah.
gun.
Well, we know there's a double standard. We can't
Mhm.
deny
Yeah,
there's a double
of course.
standard, and not only that, there is no justice for black men in America.
Where do black kids
Hard to
sit
get
in school?
justice.
If a kid's in the 11th grade and you go in the classroom, where are all the black kids, the black males sitting?
Well, that's the tradition. It used to be in the back, but they
They're
consider it
still
really
in the back.
important. But they go back there.
Yeah, on their
They go
own. They're
back
still in
there.
the back.
You know, I
They're
went to
still in the
church
back.
today. I went up to the front of the church and sat. I didn't have to sit at the back.
But do
Hmm.
y'all?
That's the choices they're
But
making.
brother
They're
Bay,
separating themselves.
do you think do you think all do you think light skinned blacks or it applies to all blacks across the board, regardless of their hue, regardless of their skin color?
I think it does because if you are of melanated skin, you're not white. And because, like they say, why would they make one blood? There's something you were just saying. Why would they make one drop of blood and of black blood in your body? It makes you black, whether you
Yeah,
look white or not. It
right.
doesn't matter.
That's
How
America.
the hell who knows that you got one drop of black
America.
in your body?
America. America.
It's because you're in America. and we have to face the damn
Now
elephant in the
that's
room
now that's a show
until
we
we do.
need to talk
Huh?
about. That's a show we really need to have about
What?
that phenomena in America.
What's that? What's the name of it?
The one drop rule.
The one drop rule.
But I believe this too, Claude. I believe our uh, lighter complected blacks have more privilege than the darker
Well,
complected
that's
blacks.
true. In fact,
We're
in
still
fact,
we're all
in
black, but
no, in this country, most of the leadership in the black community were lighter skinned blacks.
right,
That's true.
because white
That's
man
true.
in the 80s they say we gonna call y'all African Americans. They can stay black,
No,
but
but I
you
mean
all are African
historically,
Americans. You see, that's
but
why I just continue to call myself a black man in America.
well,
Mhm.
that's not the real. I mean, lighter skinned blacks, the lighter skinned
They
blacks
don't.
in the early part of this century had had access to more opportunities.
Let me
That's
uh let me point something out. You ever watch this? I think last week, the Hamptons on BET.
I don't
I
watch
don't.
that. I
There's
don't.
a neighborhood. There's a neighborhood somewhere in America. I don't know where it is, but it's called the Hamptons, and it's a very rich neighborhood of black residents, all blacks.
Hmm.
All the residents. There's a black neighborhood of people making six figures and above,
It's a
and they
segregated. It was created. It was a segregated place for the wealthy black folks to go.
whatever. That's what it's all about.
I mean,
But
you
it's
got a
showing
white
us
Hamptons,
now
and you got
what they're showing us is that just because you got all this money, we got more money than you, so we gonna come in here and buy all this shit out and put your ass back over there on cross tracks. And that's what's going on in the series right now. I'm watching it. I'm saying, so this white boy gonna come in. They standing up to him now. They telling me ain't gonna. And he called one of them a boy last week. He said, that'll be the last time you call a black man a boy.
what's the time period the show it represents?
Um, it's in Central Time. It's
No. I mean, the time period on the show, is it current?
it's current. It's current.
So, so what does motivation have to do with being intelligent or having the knowledge of how black people are in America? What's motivation got to do with that? To
Well,
me, motivation is our personal drive to improve and achieve, commitment to our goals, initiatives, or readiness to act on opportunities, as well as optimistic and resilience. I think the most important word in that whole little thing about motivation is resilient. We are resilient as a people, no matter what they have done, we are still moving forward. We're still growing. We're still getting better. They have failed to educate our people. And as long as we think public education is going to do what it's supposed to do for us, we are failing where we need to be. Because we have today is Mother's Day. And one of the biggest issues and one the biggest group of people with the most problems in America right now is single family homes raising boys in the teenage years because those are the most prevalent and most susceptible boys to the trouble in our schools. And it's because of the lack of a man in their lives. Even the male school teachers are having trouble with the teenage boys. The black males, the black men in schools are having trouble with black teenage boys because they feel like a black man can't tell them shit. But a white man school teacher, they ain't gonna do shit in their classroom but do what they supposed to do. Not 100% of the time, but the majority of the time, they're gonna follow the rules with a white man because they already know that white man will call the police on their ass in a heartbeat. They know this, but the black man gonna try to work them through it. They don't want to call the police, so they can act out a little bit. But our kids are neglected right now, and if
But
we don't do
if the
something about
police
these,
if the
huh?
police needed to be called, why wouldn't the black man call the police? if
The
the police
black
need to
man,
be called.
the black man already know what the results of the police is. He already know he has what they call self-awareness of what's going to happen once he call the police.
Okay,
Even
yeah,
if
okay. Do we
police,
have self awareness? That the kid or the people have self awareness that the actions that they are doing
the
is going
kids
to
don't.
result in
The
them having
kids
to
don't.
deal with the police.
The
And
kids don't have it.
huh?
But the kids don't have it. How many times you seen a parent call the police to their homes and they just killed this boy that was in the army here in San Antonio because he had a mental breakdown,
Right.
PTSD, and they killed him. You know, black kid. But the mom called the police. But so if you call the police on somebody black, there's a 99% chance that that kid gonna get killed.
Well, I hear you. I understand that. But I'm just as scared of some of these black guys running around here with guns as I am the white man.
These the ones I'm
I
talking about.
fear that I'll be killed quicker by a black
You
person than
will.
I will by a white man because I don't fuck with them and I don't want them fucking
Mhm.
with me. But it
And
ain't the
see,
way it was.
you're
But
right,
I
right?
fear
You're
my
not
life.
handling that.
You know what I
Because
mean?
if we're
So,
this is why I said black, Claude, black emotional intelligence. If the kids don't have that, then they are not self-aware of us. They don't know us. They don't know our values. They don't know our beliefs. So now they don't give a damn about somebody our age. They're gonna take us out. So like Chuck said, they'll kill us quick and they'll kill anybody else. And it's about self-hatred. Because if you don't know yourself, then why would you not want to just
Yeah,
kill?
I mean,
They
I
don't
think
know, they don't
that
even know why
it's
they're angry.
branded, the
I had,
psychologically
I had,
they've been branded psychologically.
and
Yeah, they don't know why they're angry.
I had a personal experience that illustrates exactly what you're talking about. I was going to a neighborhood meeting, and I had to stop and get some gas. So I pulled in front of the service station, and there was another guy, a black guy in another car, pulling in front of me. He thought I cut him off. So based on what I must have looked like, the car I was driving, he pointed a gun at me. I threw up my hand like this and said, "Excuse me, man, I didn't see you coming. I could have been dead today."
Hmm. Black man.
That
Well,
wasn't
black
today,
man.
right? Was
Yeah.
that
Huh?
today?
No, no, no. That happened to
Okay.
me not too many years ago. So, but
So I'm more afraid of black on black crime than I am of white on white crime.
my point, I
You
guess
know.
my point is, how do we ever get beyond? It seems like like whether it's racism or our blackness, it seems like in America we can't get beyond that.
We can't get beyond it because we're not willing to face reality. We have yet to face the elephant in the room. And as long as we keep trying to ignore that elephant, like all these little nuances that we don't pay
Deal
attention
with
to,
or that.
we're not going to get beyond anything because we skipping over all this shit that creates this, and we're trying to get to the finish line by jumping over the water hose and stepping on the stone.
So is there a
You got to
cost
get
that could
down
be
in the mud, get in the
how
water, huh?
how do we address, is there a cost that
This
goes
is what
with
we're
it?
doing. It ain't no cost. It's acknowledging that we have a PTSD. It's acknowledging that we're not self-aware. It's acknowledging that we don't self-regulate. It's acknowledging that we are not motivated. It's acknowledging that we don't have no empathy. And it's acknowledging that we lack social skills. Not
You think
everybody,
you
not
think
all
that
41 million or 41, what do you say,
do
41
you
million
do you
people
do you
on the planet.
think that young man in Florida was not aware of all the murders of young black people by the police up until that point? You
Which
think
is
he was
why he
How do
didn't
unaware
we
do
how do
what
we
he's
know he
done.
wasn't trying to get killed by the police?
He wasn't trying. He came to the door with his
because
gun
he never
in a
lifted his gun up?
defenseless position of what you want. You see,
Well,
all
the
that
gun
pop
stayed
had to
at his
do was
side.
say, drop
So
his.
obviously he don't
The
know
cop was
what
the
happened
coward.
with
That's
that.
all it is. You got too many coward white boys running around here. Then pistols empower them to be a man. There
Mhm.
are
Never
plenty of
would.
cops out there that've been on the force for 20 and 30 years that never pulled their weapons because they knew how. They were professionals
They know
and
how
they
to deal
know
with people.
how to handle the situation. Hell, if I'm in a car and I pull somebody over tonight, I'm getting on the mic. Get out your car. Put your hands on the roof and don't move. That's
So, what is
that's
your
it.
procedure if you get pulled over, Chuck? What do you
Huh?
do?
What am I
If you
do?
get pulled over, what do you do?
Well, I got this little thing now, the little pouch with my driver's license, my insurance, and all that stuff in it. And I hang it on the window and roll the window down just enough to hear him. So all he needs is right there. My doors are locked. If up to me, you're gonna come through the window. You're gonna break in my car. Everything you
If
need is
we
right
tell
there.
you to step out the car, what you gonna do?
For what? What do you want me to step out the car
I
for?
got a better
You gonna
And I
step
said,
your ass out
hold
the
on
car,
just a
Chuck.
minute.
I got a
Come
better
on now.
scenario
You
for
know
you.
good well you gonna get
Hold
out the
on
car.
just a minute. I'm gonna call 911 and see what the purpose of you calling me and stopping me for.
I got a better scenario. If a
Call
cop
911 on his ass.
if if a cop pulls you over, a young cop, I was in Virginia. It was late at night. He followed me, pulled me over, and asked me where was I going or what was I doing or something. Now I had a range of responses, right? I
None of
could
your
have
damn business.
I could have told him it was none of his business because I hadn't violated no law. He saw me make a U-turn, and I guess he thought I was running from him because he was coming this way, and I was
So what
coming.
happened when he pulled you over?
I'm trying to remember. My sister was in the car with me, and
What you say?
I think I told him where I
Officer,
was
I
coming from.
ain't did nothing.
No, I didn't get smart. I didn't. It was late at. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was
Why are
just.
you talking to them? I
Why am
mean,
I talking?
you have the Miranda rights still in effect.
Right.
You can say you don't have to say anything.
It
You can
was
say
me and the cop, my
give
sister
me
on a
my
dark
Miranda
street
rights, but
late at night. I don't think Miranda was there that night.
they
You understand
probably
what I'm
don't.
saying?
They hardly ever do that.
I don't think Miranda was there that night.
He gonna say, "You got any weapons in the car?"
No, he didn't go that far. He asked me where was I coming from, but I could have got smart. We talking about skills. I could have got smart aleck with him. I could have
Hmm.
said something stupid.
Yeah, this is why I like this kind of presentation show because it gives you an opportunity to talk about what we don't talk about. We don't talk about self awareness and skills and empathy. I mean, how many times we felt for somebody who just got shot by the police in Minnesota or in North Carolina or South Carolina? How do we feel about those people? Do we feel for them? We pray for them. We think about what actually occurred, or we just get angry and want to talk about what the cop did and not the whole situation. I mean, it's a whole story that goes with that, and some people just think about why Ben Crump is on every damn scene. You know,
Well, he's in Florida, so I expected him to be on that scene.
yeah, yeah.
That's his home base right there in Florida.
So I want to just say one more time why I thought Black emotional intelligence was important to us is because it creates the ability for us to manage both our own emotions and it creates the ability for us to understand how other people act around us. And
Well,
we
what?
already know how white cops act around us. So if we don't know that, then we don't know how to respond rather than react to these people. So once you understand who you're dealing with, you ought to know how to respond. And that's why I say, well, obviously, Mr. Billy, you had a reason for calling me a nigger. You mind if I ask why you did that?
Well, let me ask you a question. You grew up in the South, and there were certain behaviors and stuff that your parents passed down to you about when you're around white people. This is how you act. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. So you're saying that we haven't gotten no further. We haven't advanced as a
Well,
society.
we thought we had advanced and we stopped teaching our children how to
Those kind of
survive.
skills.
We stopped teaching them those skills and they got caught up in the system. And what really screwed it up is when we figured the federal government was our friend because they're the ones who targeted us first. We are still the target
Because
of,
back in the day when you and I was growing up, the cop was a lot more dangerous than they are today.
I don't
And
know.
Yes, they were.
When I was a little boy,
Well,
and
you was out in the country. Wasn't no cops out there.
when I got there's cops out there in the little country. Shit,
But they,
when I ran the red
Y'all had
they,
a
light,
scare, Chuck.
yeah, when I ran the red light in my little country town, the cop pulled me over and
they knew
talked
all
me
y'all
out
by
this
name.
there. Guess what he did? He gave me a warning and told me to go home, and then he went there and talked to my parents.
That's
So
what I
don't let
say.
it not
That
in no car again.
I
The
say they knew all
cops
y'all
back in the
by
day was
name.
a little bit more sensible and pleasant. I'm not pleasant, but
They're afraid today, Chuck. They
today,
are afraid.
no,
They're
they're not
more
afraid.
afraid right now
They're
Why
not.
are
They're
they
on
more
a
afraid
mission.
today than they were
They are on
back
a
then?
mission. They're not
because they know
afraid.
we angry.
They're not afraid. They're on a mission. There's a
Wait,
mission
wait,
going
wait.
on from white America towards black America, and it's not only the cops. It's the doctors and nurses in the hospitals. It's the teachers in the schools. It's the system, and they're all working. It's all working against us as black people.
Yeah,
And
Every
they're killing us off. They're killing us off 3 or 4 different ways that we don't realize. They're trying to
brother,
lower
brother Bear, you
our
think they're more
numbers.
afraid today?
I think they are more afraid because we're becoming more intelligent.
Right.
We're learning our how to control our emotions. We're learning how to turn our emotions on and deal with them because we're self-aware.
But we also got to let them know we're not a coward. I
Mm-hmm.
am not a coward. I'll fuck you up.
You see,
But
that's
that's what
when
you got to let
we
them know. That's the only thing they
yeah.
understand.
Once
Power.
you
You got to let
fail
them
to
know your
self-regulate,
white
you
mamas
put
are gonna
yourself
cry
right where
just
they
like our
want you to
black
be.
mothers cry.
But they putting you right where they want you to be, Chuck.
I'm
When
putting
you
them
tell
right
them
where
that
they want
I
to
fuck
be.
you up, you have allowed them to
Well,
know that you are not self-regulating.
I might not have come out just that strong and said it, but he would have known fucking with me would have been a mistake.
So
He would have said it.
emotional
That's why I have never had
self-regulation
no problems.
refers to the ability to manage disruptive emotions and impulses. In other words, you got to think before you act.
So I'm
And
gonna
that's
walk up to you, Smitty. I'm gonna walk up and I see you there. I'm gonna walk up and slap the fuck out of you. You control your emotions now, brother. Don't you pull that damn shit on me. You control your damn emotions now.
yeah, come on with that shit.
Control your
I ain't got
emotions.
no self-regulation in that situation.
Well, hell, that's what I'm talking about. I know he let it get to that point.
Yeah, you
Let it
gotta
get to that point.
self-regulate, man, because if you don't, they're gonna get you. You gotta
That's true.
self-regulate.
You got it.
So today we've discussed black emotional intelligence, and some people don't think it applies to the 41 million black people in America, but it does apply to a large number of us, and it's only about being able to understand what the emotional intelligence aspects are. And I'm going to go through it one last time, and then I hope you'll be able to take something away from it. Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of other people around you. There are the 5 keys to emotional intelligence. That's self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Your self-awareness, you have to have an understanding of your own thoughts and feelings and values and beliefs. Your self-regulation, you have to be able to control your emotions. You have to be able to self regulate your disruptive emotions. And that's what gets you in trouble. Not necessarily with the police, but with anybody, with your spouse, with your friends, with your enemies. You have to be able to control your disruptive emotions. You don't want to kill nobody for stepping on your shoe. And in some places, that's been the extent of things about black people. We're so angry at Mr. Billy that we will beat our own self to death just because we want to get our frustrations out some kind of way, more knowing that we're not going to take it out on him. Motivation, you got to be motivated enough to achieve and commit yourself to goals of improvement. You got to use initiative. You got to be ready to act on opportunities, and you got to be optimistic on who you are and where you need to go. And most importantly, you got to understand that we have the genes of a resilient people. The last thing is empathy. Well, next to the last. You got to be able to understand and share your emotions with others, like we're doing right here. That's basically all we're doing, sharing our emotions. Empathy is a key component in having social skills. If we didn't display our empathy, we would not be able to have social skills some kind of way. Being able to interact well with others, even though we agree to disagree on some things and we agree to agree on some things. We have to be able to actively listen to what somebody else may have to say. Either it's verbal or nonverbal, like what Chuck is displaying right now is a nonverbal communication. He's
Yeah.
saying, that shit, I'm going to sleep on that shit. Allow you to build, it allows you to build meaningful relationship with others. So that nonverbal communication says a lot in any conversation room. So if
It's
some
supposed
white
to.
person tells a
It's
joke
supposed to. It's supposed
and
to.
you give them that
That's
blank
why
stare,
Obama said he leads from the back.
hmm,
Put it
I,
out there. He
I,
leads from the back. So he
I,
speaks when he got to be
well,
heard.
well, yes, I have. Every single general leads from the back. They stand back in the nice little hooch, looking at the computer screens, telling you to go get killed.
Then
That's what
flipped
they do.
Obama's message. Flipped Obama's message.
All right, so all right, so black emotional intelligence. Now, Claude, you were really adamant about it, the word black being in this topic. So I need to really hear what's on your mind about it and how you feel about it. And like I say, we can agree to disagree. I don't care. I mean, but it's truth. The truth about it is, put it on the floor.
Well, now that you kind of explained it, I will. It just seems as though when we talk about black, you know, about when we use the word black, but and then when we try to apply strategies that pertain to everybody, somehow they're gonna magically work with black folks. I mean, the recommendations, the things you just described, self-awareness, all this empathy, social skills, self-regulation, all this stuff. You're saying that applies across racial lines, right? But you're
Mm.
saying that it'll work with black folks. And my first thoughts when you first brought this up about black emotional intelligence was as if black people, the black masses, don't already employ these rules. Like all black people need to need to understand black emotional intelligence. And I guess what I be trying to figure out sometime about blackness is that we put all black folks in one pot, and we keep talking about problems that all black people don't experience.
That's true. I'm with you. I got you.
You
I would
know,
say, but I would say a vast majority of them probably have experienced it at some point in their life, but they overcame it. There's some that is still trapped.
so you're
And
saying overcome blackness?
But
not
you
overcome
never you're
overcome
never
the
so far
opportunity
up
to
that you can't fall down. Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. They had all this stuff going on in their community, right? White man coming in and took every damn bit of it.
mm-hmm.
They owe billions of dollars to those people right now.
Yeah.
But we
Chuck,
can't stop fighting. We still got to come back and rebuild another
But
Oklahoma City.
I
As a
like
matter
what
of
I
fact,
like
this
this.
time when they tear it down, the white man's gonna pay for it. I get you.
like we're gonna build a wall.
I'm like Rodney King. Why can't we just all get along?
Hey, we all feel like that.
After they
Why
done beat
can't
his
we
ass,
just
why
all
can't we
get
just
along?
all get along?
We should be able to all get along at least once in our lives, right?
Yeah, why
But
can't we just all get along?
we could do that as black people, but because we have been conditioned not to, we ain't never gonna get along.
Yeah.
I mean, because not
I don't,
because we
I
don't
don't
want
accept
to,
that. I don't accept that, and I think the intelligent blacks that know what it's going to take for us to get along, and as long as they hold back and keep their people in the burning house, we ain't gonna get along. But if
In
they
fact,
reach
in
back
fact,
in there and start pulling them out, then they got a reason to respect you and have a different view of you as a person.
I gotta leave you gentlemen now. I got something I gotta go take care of.
All right, Claude. Thank
See
you
you
so
next
much
week.
for attending the Black News Network Sunday session.
All right.
Appreciate it. All
See you
right,
on the
Chuck,
bridge,
would you
bro.
like to go ahead and say your closing remarks?
Uh, I just think it was a heavy discussion. It's a important discussion, and it's one that you can't, just come in and discuss it, one time,
Yeah, it ain't
and
no closing. Yeah.
find a solution. The thing about it, we're trying to find solutions and to employ to change this trajectory that we're on right now. We need to really change it. And so, as speaking from my level of understanding, it ain't gonna change for us at the bottom of the well unless we start helping ourselves pull ourselves up out this well. Because those that are on up there, their emotions ain't gonna let them come down here and deal with these people that still struggling. They on their own. That old thing, I got mine, you get yours. That's what's keeping us down. And if we do what God intended for us to do, which is to take care of His creations, you got to care for those people down there. That's how you got blessed. People got blessed with all this money and wealth and experience and stuff like that. You got blessed with it, but you got to go back and help God's children that didn't get blessed, that are still struggling at no fault of their own, especially the descendants of slaves who is no fault of their own. So I think it's a good topic, but I also think that with 6 months, we got every Sunday. With 6 months away from the election, we should be talking politics and election and getting them out to vote. And why did you go out and vote? We need to be educating as many of the people as we can about the reason why they should get out and vote in 2024. 2024 is a very serious vote. If we lose this vote and get the wrong person in the White House, then a lot of us is going to suffer even more. And those that have made it up there, they're going to see their little marbles start to tumbling down, and they're going to push it right back down here where you used to be. So I think we need to really pay a lot of attention to politics right now and educate the community, the public, the people and around us to get them ready to take action. And that's why coming up on the 8th of June, July, no, it's June, 8th of June, we're trying to have our first town hall meeting to inform, uh, people in the well, the low income people, the working poor. We got to mobilize that group of people, and if we don't pay attention to them, they're not going to get mobilized, and they'll just be sitting there waiting for somebody to come and give them something. Just like they've done been branded. They've been branded to sit on their butt, be lazy, and wait for somebody to give you something. And we taxpayers said we'd rather keep them in the corporate America. We'd rather keep them in the safety net than to give them a good job. Because we don't have enough jobs to give everybody. They don't have enough jobs to give all Americans a good job so they can work and take care of themselves and raise their families and educate their children. We got to sit down and analyze how much does it cost to raise two children in America with a four member family. How much does it cost for that family to raise those children all the way through till they get educated and out on their own, you know, and survive and not struggle with the bills, not struggle with medical care and stuff like this. It's just a struggle that these people are still having. And if we have any sympathy in our heart for mankind, any humanity in our hearts for mankind, we as black people should be taking more interest in our people that are still struggling, you know, and share those blessings that they have been bestowed upon you. Share your blessings, and then more will come your way. Because the greatest investment that we can do is into our people. That's our greatest resource. Our people are our greatest resource. So, what if they don't? through the African American Capital Reserve Fund. Hopefully, we can get into what trenches and start to. If it ain't nothing but $5 a week, a month, start saving. You can save your way out of this. Live within your means and save. Work your way out. If you have to live a couple of families together in one house to pay all the bills so you won't struggle, do that because ain't nobody gonna reach down and pull you up. You got to work it out, and with the way corporate America is doing things right now, with place replacing human beings with computers and robots and things of this nature to do the work, the service work, where are these people going? To the prison system? To the safety net? That's the problem I have with it. So, power to the Poverty Vote America campaign. Hopefully, we can make a change.
All right. If you tell the truth, it's very few people will want to listen and follow you. But if you tell a lie, then you can get the multitudes to listen and follow you. So you can see why we struggle so hard is because we are telling the truth. And we have to keep telling the truth no matter what. Because today, our country is in disorder and confusion. There are so many things going wrong in America today. And it creates a lack of understanding of how democracy works. It creates a lack of understanding of how we should work with each other. We got to unpredict what's about to come in this country. We love America just like anybody else does, but until America does right by Black people, America will go through these problems. So, with that, Chuck, I want to speak to you. Give me a call about a couple of minutes after we get offline so I can talk about the politics situation with you offline and see if we can arrange a good session.
All right.
With that, all right, that's good. You okay with that?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Okay. As America grows, so do we, and our situation is not going to get any better. So I want to say to everybody that listens to the Black News Network that shalom, shalom, Shabbat salam, Shabbat salam, Shabbat salam. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA. And this topic of discussion today, the Black emotional intelligence, is from the desk of the Emissary. I am War Smith Bay, your host. My co host today was Chuck Slaughter and Mr. Floyd out of Houston. I want to thank both of them for being on the show with me today. We're broadcasting live every Sunday at 3:30, and we want to ask you to join us, like us, support us if you can. Thank you. We do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. With that, this is the Black News Network signing off.